Part 115. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1141. After leaving Dixu Mountain, Nan Saiki unanimously invited Zhang Shaoxia to visit her home. There are many reasons. For example, Zhang Shaoxia killed the blood sword ancestor who was full of evil this time to eliminate a great harm to the martial arts world. It should be celebrated with a big feast. Second, Nan Saiki has a very high status in the Central Plains martial arts world. Xiaoming rescued Lu Changfeng and opened a road to help Nan Saiki and others leave the valley, which was also a great achievement. Without Xiaoming to open the way, and without the various things Xiaoming prepared, Nan Saiki felt that he and others would just starve to death in the valley. It will definitely not last half a year. Even Hua Taigan didn't think he would kill several other brothers and then eat their corpses to survive. In addition, Shui Sheng, one of the two swordsmen and bells, is also a famous figure. Only Di Yun is a little-known boy. After saving the lives of these martial arts celebrities, if they don't express their gratitude, that's not the right way. What's more, several people are really grateful to Xiaoming. Nan Saiki wanted to invite Zhang Xiaoming to Shui's house and hold a formal apprenticeship ceremony for Shui Sheng in a grand manner. Of course, Di Yun would also attend the ceremony. From then on, the Changsheng sect officially planted its banner in the Central Plains Wulin and established a section Nan Si will arrange disciples and spread the word widely. Within a few months, the Immortality sect will definitely become famous. If Zhang Xiaoming, a junior who no one knows, could handle such a thing by himself, it would probably take him a while to achieve it. It is inevitable that you will encounter a lot of hostility. If a new sect wants to gain a foothold, it will inevitably encounter difficulties from local snakes. With Nan Saiki helping to stand up, the situation will be turned upside down. Those who want to bully newcomers should also weigh their own weight. Nan Saiki's thoughts are definitely well-intentioned, but of course there is also a little selfishness. The Immortality sect is newly established, and they can stuff some of their own family's children into it. It is enough for a few of his descendants to inherit his mantle. Wouldn't it be good to send a few of the rest to the Immortal sect to learn more advanced martial arts? It can also be regarded as diversified investment. They can also help each other in the future. If the direct descendants of the family fail to live up to expectations and fail, there will still be other children who can establish a family and worship the ancestors. This mentality of the ancient Chinese is deeply ingrained. The major families have flourishing branches, and they often disperse when the world is in chaos. Each is looking for a bright master to invest in. If you make the right choice, your family will prosper, but if you make the wrong choice, you can usually survive by relying on your relatives. Quite shrewd, Nan Saiki was just repeating his old tricks. Xiaoming himself actually has little interest in founding a section. He doesn't care whether he has unlimited glory in a secret realm. But he had to think about his apprentice, which was a good thing after all. Shui Sheng and Di Yun will still have to wander around the world in the future. These two children are too simple-minded. Di Yun could barely feel better, after all he had suffered so much. At least I learned to observe and hide myself. But now, because of Xiaoming's intervention, Di Yun's attitude towards Wulin has changed. Nan Saiki and junior sister Shui Sheng are both pretty good. The best thing is his new master, who not only helped him clear his name, but also taught him many profound martial arts concepts. Subconsciously comparing it secretly, the new master is much more real than the previous master Qi Changfa, and much kinder than the fake master, the blood knife ancestor. If Xiaoming hadn't looked so young, Di Yun would have treated Xiaoming as an elder. Now, in name they are master and apprentice, but they usually get along more like brothers and friends. He felt that in the martial arts world, righteous people still dominated. Therefore, he did not completely give up on Zhang Hu, which made Xiaoming worry about him. Nan Saiki's attitude is watery, and most of it is about his own face. De-Yun must not trust them completely, especially Hua Taigan. Therefore, Xiaoming is determined to find a prestigious immortal sect as a backer so that these two seemingly innocent children who are almost ignorant of the world can settle down and live their lives. The true energy in Shuisheng's body was cultivated with the help of Xiaoming, and she respected and loved her master very much. He tried his best to persuade master to accept the invitation from his father and uncles. In addition, because of the time she spent with De-Yun, she felt sorry for De-Yun's experience, and coupled with the small actions behind the system, she actually had a secret crush on De-Yun. Shui Sheng just didn't know it. After all, they were a couple in name. At this time, she also hoped that senior brother De-Yun would agree. De-Yun and Xiaoming are close in temperament and don't want to be in the limelight at all. At this time, his friendship with Shui Sheng was just that of a senior brother and sister. He was still thinking about sending brother Ding Dian's ashes to be buried with Miss Ling. He quietly told Xiaoming that he wanted to leave alone first. Xiaoming scratched his head, sighed and said, "Apprentice, you are thinking too much about this." Seeing Diyun's puzzled face, Xiaoming continued to explain to him. Jingzhou is the enemy's base camp. Officially, there was the power of the imperial court under the prefect Ling Tuosi. Among the people, there were also the disciples of Wan Zhenchan and the party members he had gathered. Not to mention that Diyun has not yet perfected his martial arts. Even in the original work, when he went to Jingzhou to do business, he ended up in a mess. Generally speaking, it was because Diyun was not ruthless enough and too loyal and honest. I never thought of killing Ling Tuosi and Wan Zhenchan first. In fact, to shoot a man, shoot a horse first, and to capture a thief, capture the king first. If he could use thunderbolts to get rid of the two big heads, Ling Tuosi and Wan Zhenchan, he would be cutting off the snake's head. The mob under their command will inevitably fall into civil strife, and then no one will have the time or courage to trouble him. It will be easy to do anything he wants. Besides, are Ling Tuosi and Wan Zhenchan wronged? They don't deserve to feel wronged even if they die a dozen or 20 times. Killing them will avenge countless people and save countless innocent people from death in the future. Eliminating evil is doing good. If Diyun had some self-awareness of a hero, he could have done a better job. He wouldn't have had to sacrifice his junior sister Qi Fang's life. The evildoers were naturally Wan Zhenchan and his son, but Diyun also had a little responsibility. In the original novel, if he could be tougher and take his junior sister away directly, not giving her the chance to go back and save her husband, Qi Fang would not have been killed by Wan Zhenchan and his son. Now that Xiaoming is here, this matter must not continue to develop like this. Xiaoming really wants to save Qi Fang's life. As for the fate of Qi Fang and Shui Sheng in the future, will the two women compete for a husband? Or live in harmony? This is not what Xiaoming cares about. You can't let Qi Fang die tragically just for Shui Sheng's marriage. Qi Fang's daughter Bao Xingke is also very pitiful without a mother. Xiaoming just gave Diyun a rough analysis and fooled this disciple. He felt that what the master said was very reasonable and readily agreed. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1142. These days, Huang Xiaoming has been attacking in the Lianchengju secret realm, and Yin Xiaoming has been clearing out the zombie cave. The main game of Magic Planet was inevitably neglected. Green Xiaoming would occasionally steal some free time and come in to take a look. But there is not much time to play games. On the contrary, Xiaoming's training work in the Hunter x Hunter secret realm was not delayed too much. After all, the team attacking the zombie cave also needs to rest. So at night, after the main game is closed, Xiaoming still has time to practice in the secret realm. The ability of Death of Friend but not of Poor Deist has already had a general outline. The details need to be supplemented. During the day, the zombies encountered in the cave are getting stronger and stronger. Of course, the so-called daytime is just what everyone's watch says. No external light source can be seen in the cave. However, these zombies fight on their own, lacking unified command and dispatch, and the threat posed to the clearing team is not great. Moreover, the clearing team has also changed its strategy and tactics. With the army of dancing zombies led by the Dancing King Zombie, Xiaoming, and Mushroom Hall can tell who will win or lose in the bet without even looking. This way of losing is not embarrassing for Mushroom Hall at all, and both sides can get off the stage. The Cherry Hall master admitted defeat in advance and gave Xiaoming dozens of cherry bomb props as a bet for losing. He has all these things, but Xiaoming can't refuse them. Otherwise, others will definitely wonder, why don't you want such a useful prop? Without the involvement of the gambling game, the next clearing team took the opportunity to change the formation. That is, more than a dozen people from the three families were dispersed into the zombie team. Using these hundreds of zombies as meat shields, the safety of the team members is naturally greatly improved, and there are countless opportunities to pick up leaks. This is the most important point. The zombie dance troupe killed many zombies, and the yin qi was absorbed by them, which was a bit of a waste. After all, except for the Dancing King Zombie, the other zombies are cannon fodder. It doesn't matter if they die, Xiaoming can always subdue new zombies to replace them. So the three families, Mushroom Hall, Li family, and Dou family, ask Xiaoming to let their people mix in the team. Helping to fight monsters is secondary. The most important thing is that these people have props in their hands, which can collect the yin qi leaked out after the death of high-level zombies. They think Xiaoming should be very embarrassed to make such a request. Zombies are willing to suck the blood of living things by nature. Before, humans and zombies were separated, so it was easy to control. Now humans and zombies are mixed. It is very likely to lure zombies to bite nearby. So Xiaoming must be vigilant at all times and control the actions of zombies. Such operations consume a lot of mental energy. Li Hong and others don't know if Xiaoming can do it. It's just that the benefits are too great, so they have to ask. They think that as long as Xiaoming can roughly control it, it's fine. It doesn't matter if there is danger occasionally, and there are three of them who can rescue it. Xiaoming naturally agreed. He doesn't care about that little yin qi at all. And under his control, these zombies are actually very safe. Even during the march, Xiaoming had to act out a scene, occasionally letting a zombie pretend to attack humans, to show that he did not completely control so many zombies. After the formation changed, the work of clearing out zombies became easier. In a few days, they cleared a large area. All the passages or areas that had been cleared would be blocked by barriers, to prevent other zombies from running in and hiding. Although the IQ of zombies is not very likely to do so. But it is better to be prepared for the unexpected. On September 23, several people decided to suspend the clearing work. After nearly 10 days of continuous fighting, everyone was a little tired and it was time for a break. Xiaoming's control over the zombie dance troupe also gradually showed fatigue. There were still some reserve materials in each family, but they didn't want to continue. From the perspective of the leaders of the other three families, they felt that this opportunity was too rare. Where can you find such a useful cannon fodder team? During this period, the subordinates brought out have made great progress. It is a pity to only allow this group of young people to have such training opportunities. Other young people in the sect or family should also be exchanged for internship. This is called equal treatment. However, if this arrangement is made, this zombie army is needed, so Zhang Xiaoming must be given enough rest time. They don't know that Xiaoming is not tired at all. The previous plan was that each party would take turns to send people to form teams and alternately clean up the entire zombie cave. There are always people in the cave doing the clearing work. Now the plan needs to be modified. No matter how others rotate, the three families hope that Jiang Xiaoming can take the zombie army to fight every time. Therefore, when Xiaoming is resting, the cave cannot be cleaned. It is inevitable that the overall time of the task will be extended a lot. In fact, it is not. Because of the help of Xiaoming's zombie army, the scope that can be cleared every day has actually expanded several times. The efficiency should be higher. Cherry Hall Master, Li Hong, Duzzy, and the three of them first gathered together and muttered for several days. After having this intention, each of them asked for instructions from the family or section, obtained the consent of each family. Then they negotiated with Xiaoming. The conditions were nothing more than inducements. As long as Xiaoming was willing to help each company train new people, the three companies would be willing to pay a high price. Xiaoming had no reason to refuse. He would not lose anything by making good connections with the three companies, so why would he refuse? Among the three families, at least the top management of the Li family should be playing dumb. Through the third young master and Long Wu, the Li family probably knew some of Xiaoming's strength, so they would not believe his poor performance. However, Xiaoming acted in front of the three families, but revealed his true strength to the Li family, obviously treating the Li family as his own. The Li family felt obliged to accompany Xiaoming to continue acting. Anyway, there are many young people in their family who need training. It's also good to take a ride. In terms of return gifts, after negotiation, it was decided that the three families would collect some fire source fragments for Xiaoming. So, the large group of people withdrew from the zombie cave, and the Dance King Zombie and the zombie dance troupe were left in the safe area in the cave. Anyway, they were full and would not kill each other. There were no other zombies in the safe area, so it should be fine. A dozen humans took the Quinjet fighter they came in. Returned from Mount Fuji to the north of the new Han Kingdom. Except for the people of Mushroom Hall. Their headquarters have always been on the islands of Japan. There is no need to go to the hive again. After arriving at the hive, the others will go back to their own homes and find their own mothers. The next time to clear the zombie cave is tentatively scheduled for early October. The specific time is entirely determined by Xiaoming. As long as he feels rested, he can notify Hongqiao at any time, and Hongqiao will notify the other three families. Xiaoming is given a lot of free time, but they hope it will not exceed October 10th at the latest. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1143. The pilot of the stealth Quinjet called the hive's air traffic controller and opened the apron gate, allowing the fighter jet to enter the hive. This reflects the benefits of a truly optically invisible Quinjet fighter. It is indeed difficult for ordinary people to find it, and it is very suitable for transporting League of Legends members. On the tarmac, Xiaoming, the Li family, and the Dou family had just gotten off the plane when Sister Hongqiao teleported over. She really cares about this Quinjet. Seeing that the fighter plane was safe, her face immediately felt much better. With so many people around, the lower half of her face was always covered with red gauze. Judging from the curvature of her eyes, you can tell that she is smiling. Hongqiao specially asked this matter before leaving, and Xiaoming really took it to heart. After the four families entered the zombie cave, Lu Xiaoming quietly opened the aperture and sent a Qiyao shadow clone wearing an invisibility suit. With the clone guarding you, everything will be safe. Not to mention the danger, even the bird dropping Xiaoming didn't let the fighter plane land even a little bit. The clone even had nothing to do, and even cleaned up the fighter plane after practicing. Even some damaged parts inside the fighter plane were repaired with magic. Others couldn't feel it. Even the pilot of the fighter plane just felt that the driving process was smoother and thought it was an accident. Only an A-level master like Hongqiao could spot something fishy after just a few observations. Knowing that it must be Xiaoming's doing, I feel happy. And Xiaoming found that his sister didn't seem to be a pure A level anymore. Since Xiaoming performed the surgery on her, she can eat freely and still has a little spiritual energy to nourish herself. The realm that has been stagnant for a long time seems to be showing signs of loosening. In fact, that little bit of spiritual energy is not so effective. What matters is the mentality. Xiaoming didn't know how long Hongtide had been a zombie, but it probably wouldn't be shorter, maybe 300 to 500 years, at least. An original human being could not eat for hundreds of years and could only drink blood, which would definitely have an impact on his mental state. This depends on each person's psychological quality. Such a zombie can suddenly eat normally, and his mood can be said to be extremely good and extremely happy. The breakthrough in realm is also caused by mood. Boy, come with me. Hong Chao grabbed Yin Xiaoming's ear and teleported him to his room. Li Hong and Duzi both knew the virtue of this Hong Chao. They looked at each other, smiled bitterly, and left with their men. They still have a lot of things going on. The Mandarin duck hotpot is being cooked in Hong Chao's room. It turned out that she ran out to watch the Quinjet in the middle of her meal. She was such a miser. Brother, I heard that you created 7D level high-level skeleton soldiers and set up a Tiangangbaidu formation? Is it true? Hong Chao pushed Xiaoming on the seat, sat down, rinsed a piece of mutton, dipped it in the sauce and ate it. I let out a sigh of relief before asking the question I was concerned about. Xiaoming also followed suit, boiled a piece of mutton and ate it, and replied, "It's true, but the formation can only be set up under my control, the skeleton soldiers can't do it themselves. Oh, the red tide is a bit pity. It would be great if they could get a group of skeleton soldiers who can set up the Tiangangbaidu formation, but it's a pity that they can't." He said with regret, "Brother, can't you think of a way? This is very practical. Before you come out of the hole, my sister has already received orders. I'll go." "No, sister. These horoscopes haven't even been mentioned yet, and someone has placed an order." Xiaoming was puzzled. Are some people too impatient? After Hong Chao's explanation, Xiaoming finally understood. No matter what force they are, their force structure is pyramid-shaped. The more powerful the reincarnations are, the fewer they are, while the low-level subordinates are numerous. Some E-level and D-level subordinates were not even selected by the reincarnation space, but were cultivated by various forces themselves. The trivial tasks of all forces, such as security, investigation, etc., are basically done by these low-level personnel. If you arrange D-class skeleton soldiers who can set up the Tiangangbaidu formation at key positions in your defense circle, it will be of great benefit. This is a team that can trap C-level experts without wasting the force's living combat power. Living people represent variables and may be bribed. The most important thing is that some places are not suitable for garrisoning for some reason. Unconscious arms such as skeleton soldiers are the best choice. Sister Hong Chao lobbied hard, and it was also for Xiaoming's benefit. With Zhang Shizu's help in negotiating the price, Xiaoming would not suffer. You can also accumulate a lot of contacts. Xiaoming was thinking about it while eating hot pot, but he thought of a key point. The skeleton soldier's intelligence is given by magic, and he has no ability to adjust it. But what about the puppets? The intelligence of the puppet can be given by oneself, and it should be possible to set up an array. Thinking of puppets, Xiaoming immediately thought of robots and intelligent program AI. Robots can also be programmed. Isn't it cool to make some sturdy robots and program them to arrange the Tiangangbaidu array? Xiaoming doesn't believe it. It's impossible that no one has tried this kind of thing after so many years, right? He immediately raised his question to his sister. Crimson Tide also gave an answer. It's very simple, martial arts formations and technology systems conflict. There are always people trying the method Xiaoming mentioned, but no one has ever succeeded. Nowadays, Many people's hearts are weak. There are only a few very stubborn people left who are still experimenting. The situation is varied and complicated, and it can't be explained in a few words. Hongqiao didn't have time to talk to Xiaoming, and Xiaoming didn't want to know so much. Anyway, it's probably that martial arts can only be used by intelligent life forms, not limited to humans. The body controlled by humans can also do it, but pure machinery can't do it. This doesn't seem very reasonable. It's just a formation, isn't it just a move? Why can humans do it, but robots can't? Is this thing racially discriminatory? How to say it? Because all supernatural energy comes from several major sources. So its rules are also set by the source energy, or the manager of the source energy. In other words, the factory settings are like this, and it can't be said to be reasonable or unreasonable. This leads to a very interesting question. Xiaoming himself is also the manager of the source energy, and he can actually adjust the appearance settings. Of course, Xiaoming, the manager, is still very immature at present, and he himself doesn't even realize this. In the past, he occasionally broke some restrictions on supernatural energy inadvertently. However, the reincarnations have a very superficial understanding of source energy, and they cannot see the essential difference. Not to mention them, even the managers of several major source energies, such as the Dragon Palace, the Underworld, and the Heavenly Palace, their managers cannot see the most essential place. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1144. After several experiments, Xiaoming first integrated the Tiangangbaidu formation into the Z-series puppetry. Among them, the Z-series Mind Beast Brain, which is the operating system of the puppet, is a combination of mind power and magic. In other words, Xiaoming can use some wood, or even dead branches and rotten leaves, to create a group of puppets that can set up the Tiangangbaidu formation at any time. When the magic power and mind power are exhausted, there is no power. I guess no one is willing to buy such puppets. There are definitely people who are willing to learn this series of magic. But Xiaoming does not want to pass it on. If he wants to pass it on, it will be passed on to his subordinates, the insect humans. In Xiaoming's Z-series puppetry, all the puppets are temporarily put together. The combat effectiveness is too low, and they fall apart after use. So he changed his mind. Xiaoming realized that the reason why other forces could not do it was that they lacked the brain of the puppet. They could not lack advanced puppets, but their puppets did not have intelligent programs that could set up formations. And they could not come up with such intelligent programs. Xiaoming can do it. The reason in the middle is more subtle. Xiaoming is special because he has been to the world of My Date with a Vampire too. There, the goddess Nuwa taught him the three abilities of creating life, shaping the body, opening wisdom, and enlightening the soul. And intelligent life forms can practice martial arts and set up formations. So Xiaoming can let his puppets or skeleton soldiers set up the Tiangangbaidu formation. Realizing this, Xiaoming found the direction. He only needs to come up with a brain that can set up formations. The puppet can be provided by the other party. The buyer provides the puppet, and Xiaoming finds a way to give the puppet a brain that can set up formations, and the matter is settled. After comprehensively examining all the abilities he has, Xiaoming found a very suitable existence to serve as the brain of the puppet, the parasite. Xiaoming got this ability from an alien called Hive in the Marvel world. Strictly speaking, the parasite should be regarded as Xiaoming's clone. It's just that their brains are too small to be responsible for any important work. The advantage is that parasites have very little demand for various energies. Xiaoming usually uses parasites as space signposts. As long as there is a place where parasites are active, Xiaoming can open a teleportation aperture. Parasites are rarely used in combat. Now Xiaoming can slightly strengthen the nervous system of parasites, so that they have a little wisdom, enough to use martial arts to set up formations. Parasites that can control other life forms, the Zerg actually have such troops. Xiaoming borrowed the corresponding genetic information without knowing it. This new parasite was developed. Attached to puppets, undead and other troops, it can replace the original operating system. In this way, the buyer's requirements are partially met. Let those puppets or undead have the ability to use the Tiangangbai formation. But the problem is, after Xiaoming's transformation of the puppets or undead, aren't they controlled by Xiaoming? That would make the customer feel uneasy. There are many masters from the major forces on Pangu Star. Xiaoming uses parasites to achieve this effect. People are not fools, of course they can see it. They just don't have the same abilities. So, if you plant flowers with care, they won't bloom, but if you plant willows by accident, they will grow into shade trees. Xiaoming failed to meet Party A's requirements and create a Tiangangbai formation that can be sold. Instead, his own abilities have been improved. At least the low-level puppets or skeleton soldiers that Xiaoming created in the future can get rid of the fate of defective cannon fodder. After being possessed by Xiaoming's parasites, those low-level soldiers can set up the Tiangangbai formation, and their combat effectiveness has definitely increased several times. Finally upgraded to high-quality cannon fodder. Xiaoming's experimental work for this period was completed in the underground training room of the hive. Hong Chao has been visiting from the side, giving some suggestions or laughing at him from time to time. Because she didn't know the inside story, she felt that Xiaoming seemed to have succeeded, and Hong Chao was very happy. This is a flagship product. Even if Zhang Shizu's lineage only earns an agency fee, it is enough to make a lot of money. This sister has already fallen into fantasy, how she will count money until her hands cramp in the future. As a result, Xiaoming poured cold water on her. After Xiaoming's explanation, Hong Chao also understood why this thing could not be sold. She felt very sorry. A pile of small money seemed to be flying away from her eyes, and her sister suddenly had an idea. If you are worried, we can use the contract of the reincarnation space. Any family that wants to buy must sign a strict contract with Xiaoming. At the same time, Zhang Shizu's lineage must also act as a guarantee. Xiaoming is responsible for transforming the puppets or undead soldiers provided by the other party so that they have the ability to arrange the Tiangangbai formation. The other party needs to pay a certain price. Both parties shall not use this transaction to harm each other. There may be many kinds of such harmful behaviors. If it is only expressed in words, it may take hundreds of pages to write, and it may not be complete. Humans are very good at taking advantage of loopholes in contracts. Fortunately, the space contract is extremely powerful, and it does not matter what terms and words are used. What is bound is the soul of the person who signed the contract. There is no way to play word games. Even if Xiaoming is a VIP of the reincarnation space, once a space contract is signed, it must be executed and must not be violated. Such a strong space contract also has costs, and all three parties have to bear them. Xiaoming will definitely make less money. Red Tide will also make less money. At the same time, Hong Chao said that even so, this business will only be done with trusted acquaintances. She will never act as a matchmaker for anyone she doesn't trust. The first business was with Hong Chao herself, no, this zombie. She is the person in charge of the League of Legends northern headquarters in the New Han Kingdom. There are many secret bases in the northern headquarters, all of which require troops to be stationed. In the past, Hong Chao always assigned members of the League of Legends to guard them, and it cost a lot of money. In addition to paying them wages, some means must be used to confirm that the other party will not disclose the secrets of the alliance. The cost is extremely high. And it is not safe. It is too easy for people to trick the reincarnations. It is simply impossible to guard against. Especially the Truth Society. It is the strongest reincarnation organization among the reincarnations, except for the two major alliances. It often makes some small moves. Although the losses of the League of Legends are generally not too large, they will always suffer a certain degree of damage or have some things stolen. At the same time, the Truth Society is often attacked by the Alliance, and often loses manpower and resources. The two sides are like the government army and the resistance organization, and they have won and lost. The Tiangangbidu formation provided by Xiaoming will bring a considerable advantage to the alliance. Hong Chao got thousands of level 2 skeleton swordsmen in one breath and transformed Xiaoming. The effect of the Tiangangbidu formation is more obvious when it is used on lower level soldiers. Although it is only a level 2 skeleton swordsman, after being controlled by the parasite, the combat effectiveness is at least increased by one level. It is estimated that there will be a part of it. It can take on more important guard work. In the future, a secret base with more than a dozen reincarnations will be enough. The safety and secrecy will be greatly increased. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1145. What is this? Why is it so creepy? Xiaoming looked at the several syringes handed over by Sister Hong Chao, and the whole person was a little scared. There was a green substance flowing in those syringes, and I don't know if it was liquid or gas. It was creepy to look at. Could it be some super poison? High concentration of zombie yin qi. You don't even know this. Hong Chao's tone was full of contempt. You can't use it, this is for your Xiaoan. When giving these syringes, Sister Zombie was a little reluctant, because yin qi is a great tonic for zombies. Hong Chao was really generous this time. Unfortunately, she didn't understand the needs of the customer. What Xiaoming lacked the most was spiritual energy and yin qi. Those were things that could be produced by himself. In his telekinetic space Guangmingding, there were the most concentrated yin qi and spiritual energy. Zhang Wen is currently a third-generation zombie, and he does need a high concentration of yin qi. However, he has always had a uniform butler by his side, and he can enter Guangmingding to practice and replenish at any time. In fact, Xiaoming had also performed surgery on Zhang Wen's body, and many mushrooms were planted in his digestive system, which continuously provided spiritual energy to Zhang Wen. Spiritual energy is produced in the body, and it will not be wasted at all. After being transformed into a zombie body, it is naturally excellent yin energy. It is estimated that Zhang Wen does not look down on Hong Chao's gift. Xiaoming politely declined. Sister Hong Chao, our sect does not lack this, it is enough. Hong Chao, like other top forces on Pangu Star, mistakenly believed that there was an extremely powerful sect behind Zhang Xiaoming. She believed that Zhang Xiaoming should not lack spiritual power for cultivation. Looking at Xiaoming's cultivation in the foundation building period, she knew that he did not lack it. However, that sect should not provide yin energy for Xiaoming's friend Zhang Wen, right? That would be too much. So she thought that Xiaoming's best friend Zhang Wen might lack yin energy. Helping him might be more effective than helping Xiaoming directly. Only then would they share some of the yin energy they usually use for cultivation with them. From her point of view, this is of course a very generous act. Unexpectedly, the whole branch was split. Zhang Xiaoming's master was more generous, and even took care of the friends of such a disciple. Does your family also wholesale spiritual energy? Can you give me some? Of course, this cannot be said. Sister Hong Chao obviously misunderstood. Since Xiaoming did not want yin qi, she could not find a suitable gift for a while. Xiaoming got thousands of skeleton soldiers for the League of Legends that can be used to set up the Tiangangbidu sword formation, and the League should always show some appreciation. Originally, Xiaoming asked her to find the magic wands of wizards in the world of Harry Potter. She had already given Xiaoming a batch, and recently found some more. It's just that this batch of new magic wands was urgently needed by other forces and bought at a high price. As a friend and sister, she should be biased towards Xiao Ming. But as the leader of the League of Legends branch, she still has to give priority to transactions that benefit the League. That batch of magic wands was sold at a high price. It's just magic wands. She had given Xiao Ming a lot before, and didn't think Xiao Ming would need a lot, so she made the decision and changed the form of reward. Speaking of which, how many magic wands does Xiao Ming need? In fact, even hundreds of them are not too many. Because Xiao Ming's 7 shadow clone can use magic. At present, there are nearly 107 shadow clone. There will be more in the future, so it is definitely right to stock up more magic wands. Hongqiao naturally didn't think of such a thing. She only considered what kind of reward would be more useful to this little brother. Unexpectedly, it was a mistake. This made the A-level zombie a little embarrassed. She gritted her teeth and glared, and took Xiao Ming to move instantly. It turned out to be the warehouse of the northern branch of the New Han district of the League of Legends. Since it is not clear what Xiao Ming likes, just open the warehouse and let this kid choose by himself. At this moment, Xiao Ming was not immediately dazzled by the dazzling array of reincarnation items, but directly felt the peculiarity of this space. This is not the normal real world, but a space created by a certain mind ability user with mind power. It is similar to the Guangmingding at home. Since the two of them entered this space, Xiao Ming felt that Hongqiao was actually a psychic user. He had never felt this way before. If Hongqiao was a psychic user, he should have discovered it long ago. Xiao Ming frowned and looked thoughtful. Hongqiao knew what Xiao Ming was wondering about, so she took the initiative to explain the matter. It turned out that after becoming an A-level zombie, Hongqiao chose to practice psychic. She was gifted and soon made great progress. Her psychic was of the trait system, tending to be spatial. So under the advice of the boss Zhang Shizu, she built this psychic warehouse with strong constraints and oaths. It was specially used to store valuables. Not only her own things, but also those of other zombies, especially Zhang Shizu. Later, the Northern Division of the League of Legends also took a fancy to her ability and spent a lot of money to rent a part of the space to place some assets of the division. The person who took a fancy to Hongqiao was none other than the leader of the Northern Division, Hongqiao herself. Well, I don't know if this is considered abuse of power for personal gain. If it's not good, it may be embezzlement. No one would check her anyway. Hongqiao paid the price of never using telekinesis outside this space in exchange for a huge space and advantageous geographical location. In this space, her combat power increased by at least 1.5 times. After becoming stronger, Xiao Ming couldn't help but look down on Hongqiao's combat power. Now he knows that she has another trump card. Never underestimate a high-level reincarnationist. His hidden means can really kill many masters. Even with Xiao Ming's current strength, he may not be able to take down Hongqiao in this space. This is called a strong dragon cannot suppress a local snake. Because this warehouse is not the only one with the right to enter and exit. There are some specific people from the League of Legends and the zombie lineage who can also enter and exit. When the conditions are met, they can even bring people in, so security issues need to be paid special attention. Therefore, this warehouse is guarded by hundreds of reincarnationists all year round. Letting so many outsiders stay in his mind power space all day long, Hongqiao always feels awkward. There are also some potential risks. Therefore, most of the skeleton soldiers that Xiao Ming got for the northern branch are to be sent to Hongqiao's mind power warehouse. No wonder she was so concerned before, it turned out that she was seeking benefits for herself. If Xiao Ming hadn't vaguely felt the urgency of Sister Hongqiao, he might not have completed this ability so quickly. In this case, Xiao Ming is not stingy. Using his skeleton expertise, he created 98 level 4 skeleton swordsmen for Sister Hongqiao on the spot. Every 7 skeletons form a small Big Dipper formation, and the 7 small formations are combined into a Big Dipper formation. The 2 Big Dipper formations support each other, forming a whole positive and negative Big Dipper formation. This is the formation that Quan Zhen sect once laid in the Return of the Condor Heroes. In the end, it was broken by Guo Zheng. However, the strength of each member of Xiaoming's sword formation is only slightly inferior to Guo Jing, so the power of this formation can be imagined. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1146. Xiaoming previously gave thousands of parasites to thousands of level 2 skeleton swordsmen. Hong Chao also signed a space agreement with Xiaoming on behalf of the Northern Division of the League of Legends, to protect the interests and safety of both parties in the transaction. And this time, Xiaoming provided 98 level 4 skeleton swordsmen that can be deployed, without negotiating the price with Hong Chao in advance or signing a contract. He gave it directly. Hong Chao is also generous. Xiaoming is willing to give, so she will accept it. One of them dares to give, and the other dares to take, and neither of them is worried that the other will have ulterior motives. Because this is considered a private transaction, Hong Chao and Zhang Xiaoming trust each other more on a private level. This is not just because the two parties have traded many times. The most important thing is that both parties have trustworthy personal identities. As a ghost messenger, Xiaoming's behavior is restricted by the underworld. Once he deliberately does bad things too much, he will inevitably be backlashed by the Soul Gem. That is terrible. Hong Chao's zombie bloodline is more interesting. Her zombies regard love as the highest power. If she always has bad intentions in her heart, she can't maintain the level of A-level zombies at all. If we compare the zombies in My Date with a Vampire 2, Hong Chao's combat power is second only to Kuang Tianyue, who finally became the first-generation zombie. And Zhang Shizu's strength is still above Kuang Tianyue. But the true ancestor of zombies general, that is, Pangu God, is so powerful that it is impossible to measure his strength. No one can compare with him. This does not mean that the special identities of both parties force Hong Chao and Xiaoming to be good people. In fact, it is because these two are essentially good people that they have the opportunity to reach the current height. At the same time, they are also constrained by their own bloodline identities and will not easily fall. The previous second-level skeleton soldiers were a transaction, and the alliance must of course pay the corresponding remuneration. So Hong Chao took Xiaoming to see the warehouse belonging to the League of Legends. Of course, the level of items that can be visited is limited to below sea level. Higher ones are not equal. In addition, Hong Chao also slightly distorted the rules and took Xiaoming to see another warehouse. What about the things inside? All of them are things that the members of the alliance cannot recognize, that is, priceless. They may be priceless or worthless. Even so, this warehouse of the northern branch will definitely not let anyone come in to try their luck easily. This opportunity that may rise to the top in one step will only be left to their own people. Zhang Xiaoming is of course one of them. He has already joined the League of Legends and has a promising future. No one can say anything when Hong Chao brings him here. In fact, Xiaoming is not a person who doesn't like all the items that can be priced. There are at least fragments of the fire source, the killing stone, the Four Souls jade, and other acceptable things. Xiaoming is not so greedy. He just wanted to take a few pieces and leave. There is no need to waste time shopping. The behavior of the stinky boy who doesn't cherish his sister's heart is naturally suppressed by Hong Chao's sister twisting her ears. It's too outrageous. She opened the warehouse for her brother to choose at will, but you made your choice within less than 3 minutes after entering the door. It's a waste of her feelings. Under the pressure of Hong Chao, Xiaoming had to finish visiting the ordinary warehouse of the Alliance and follow his sister to visit the secret warehouse. Xiaoming still can't understand why girls love shopping so much. Even if they take others to visit their own store, they are still very excited. Thanks to the red tide, Xiaoming didn't miss a very special thing. It was in the secret warehouse that Xiaoming took a quick look. In front of a shelf of items, he suddenly moved his fingers and used magic on an item, archaeology. As mentioned earlier, most of the magic in the Magic Planet game can be used in reality. This also includes identification and archaeology. Later, Xiaoming also tasted it and found some rules. Not everything can be identified or found out by archaeology. It depends on the source of the item. More than 90% of the items in the Yanhuang 3 stars can be identified, only about 60% of the items in Pangu star can be identified, and very few items in the reincarnation space can be identified. Xiaoming estimates that this may be related to the knowledge base behind identification and archaeology. In other words, they can only identify things that the people who created these two magics know. Now it seems that the main body of this magic is likely to be the optical computer of the interstellar human race nine-tailed fox. There should be more than one of them, and he may have contacted other optical computers to create together. So what items can be identified depends on whether nine-tailed fox and others know them. Therefore, as the base camp of optical computers, the Yanhuang 3 star system basically knows more than 90% of the things. Some optical computers came to Pangu star and lived there for 1.5 million years. It is not surprising that they know 60% of the items on Pangu star. However, the history of the reincarnation space is longer and the ability is more powerful. They can recognize a small part of it, which is the knowledge accumulated by the optical computers over the years. Unfortunately, in the face of the variety of space items, what they really know is still a drop in the bucket. Archaeology was suddenly attracted by a certain item, which made Xiaoming almost automatically take action. Of course, there is a mystery in this item. The item itself is just a broken totem, which is actually half a piece of stone. It is so black that you can't tell what the complete totem depicts. The data obtained by archaeology is also very infuriating. It only says that this is a totem worshipped by an unknown tribe tens of thousands of years ago. Why is it unknown? Because this tribe was exterminated by natural disasters and man-made disasters, and no relics were left. Modern scholars did not name it at all. They themselves did not have the idea of naming their own tribe. Due to the demise of that tribe, this totem was submerged in the long river of history and no longer received any attention. Later, it fell into the hands of the Northern Division of the League of Legends, and no one knew what it was, so they put it here as a special item to fool people. In fact, this totem inhabits a human optical brain that is the same as the nine-tailed fox. Just like Lu Shu and Jun Jun. However, compared with the nine-tailed fox, his situation is really miserable. Possessed in the totem of a primitive tribe, but the tribe did not exert his power and ended up perishing. What's worse is that this tribe has some ability to turn things around, and actually imprisoned him in the totem and could not leave. So this optical brain was buried underground for tens of thousands of years, and its energy was almost exhausted, and it fell into a deep sleep. Xiaoming's archaeology has a feature: there is a chance to extract something from the archaeological objects. Relying on this chance, he extracted the optical brain trapped in the totem, and the optical brain directly settled in the depths of Xiaoming's soul, under the source tree. It has not woken up yet. And Xiaoming's ghost ability extracted some memory fragments of the optical brain. Only then did he know a little about the whole story. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1147. To be more precise, the Soul Gem created the Hades/Underworld, and of course it has the ability to trace the history of any living being or any object. What is being traced is not just the memory of this living being or the memory of this object, but also the memory of the universe about them. If it is only the memory of the living being itself, there will definitely be deviations and it will not be fair. The subjective and objective must be unified before the judgment can be made. Xiaoming has not yet completely completed the interview of the Hades and has not really obtained the ability of a ghost messenger. Now this ability is just some of the corners of the ghost messenger's ability. So Xiaoming knows very little about the past of this new optical computer. This latest optical computer can no longer show its form. Fortunately, Lu Shu knew it and gave Xiaoming a brief introduction. This optical computer is called. The classic of mountains and seas says, in the mountain of Jiaotu, there is a beast, which looks like a deer with a white tail, horse feet, human hands, and 4 horns, and is called. Another not so famous beast. Anyway, Xiaoming had never heard of it before. The ones he had gathered, Xie, Lu Shu, and 11Ru, were all similar. They were not very famous, and their images were all 4-legged animals, which was a coincidence. When the optical computers were assigning names, they used a lottery method, relying on luck. The luck of these 3 optical computers was really not very good. They were assigned 3 extremely unknown images. The best one among them was Lu Shu. Before he met Xiaoming, he had Mushroom Hall to support him. Now he has the energy provided by Xiaoming to ensure his survival. Xie was slightly worse. He had used up his own energy before, and had to endure and survive in the Magic Planet game created by his companion Nine-Tailed Fox, waiting for an opportunity. And when Xiaoming just got him, he was still in a fragmented state, and the situation is of course much better now. However, both of them are also responsible for getting more energy to help other optical computers. So usually these 2 beasts often sleep under the source energy tree and try not to toss. Compared with the previous 2, 11Ru is even more miserable. After his energy was exhausted, he was not able to return to his companions, but was buried deep underground for tens of thousands of years. It was only recently unearthed, but it only fell into the hands of the reincarnationist and failed to get in touch with the Nine-Tailed Fox. Not to mention finding a host with the help of the game, even the energy obtained by other optical computers in the game cannot be subsidized to him. Meeting Xiaoming today is a lucky break. After being taken away by Xiaoming, the original unknown totem fragment is actually useless. Because the essence is no longer there. If Xiaoming is a little more cunning, he should pretend that he has nothing and continue to ask for other things from the red tide. But if he does that, Xiaoming will not be able to get over this. Ruining his character for such a small thing? It's not worth it. So he accepted the useless totem as a reward. The transaction with the northern branch of the League of Legends is now completed. The next step is a private transaction with the Red Tide. That's 98 level 4 skeleton swordsman, which is more valuable than 1,000 level 2 skeletons. Hong Chao thought for a moment and said to Xiaoming, about the reward, well, brother, do you have confidence in yourself? Do you dare to take a risk? Xiaoming misunderstood and thought that Hong Chao was going to take him to seize some high-level treasure, so he asked in confusion. It's just a little reward, sister can give it as you see fit. No need to take risks. It's a small matter. No, Hong Chao explained quickly, I mean, okay, it's like this. Brother, do you know the private world? Xiaoming nodded, indicating I've heard of it. Hong Chao said, I turned Jia building into my own private world. There are really a few masters in it. If you can take 1 or 2 of them as your followers. Wow! Before she finished her words, Xiaoming's jaw almost dropped. This is too generous. Xiaoming himself certainly doesn't look down on 1 or 2 masters. But he knows how generous Hong Chao's proposal is. Hong Chao must have paid a great price to turn Jia building into a private world. The residents here are theoretically potential subordinates of Hong Chao. It is not only a treasure trove of talents, but also a treasure trove of cannon fodder, and can even become a factory. Among the ordinary residents, Hong Chao can transform them into third and fourth generation zombies, and several masters can be collected as followers. Very useful. She is willing to share with Xiaoming. How much face is this? Xiaoming is really touched. However, Xiaoming owns the entire world of Yu Yu Hakusho, and he has no conscience to rob his sister's resources. As a result, humans cannot escape the true fragrance theorem. That night, Xiaoming still used Guangmingding to take a resident of Jiajia building away from the hive. This resident is not an important figure such as Kuang Tianyue, Ma Xiaoling, Wang Zhenzhen, Qiu Shu, and Jin Zhengzhong, but a person who means a lot to Xiaoming Ruan Mengmeng. According to the plot, Ruan Mengmeng actually died a long time ago. Xiaoming didn't expect that this person could still exist in Sister Hong Chao's Jiajia building. This is Xiaoming's ignorance. Since private worlds are difficult to obtain, reincarnations will deal with them very cautiously. Generally, the initial stage with the most talents will be selected to lock the world. In addition, in the early stages, many late-stage masters are not yet fully mature, their levels are very low but their potential is huge. This is the best time to recruit them as followers. Recruiting at a low level makes it easier to meet the conditions. After a little training, they can quickly become masters. The cost effectiveness is very high. Let me give you an example to make it clear. In the early days of the world of Yu Yu Hakusho, Xiaoming recruited Kurama and Hai. Those who are familiar with the original work know that these two are the protagonists, and their future development prospects are so broad. Xiaoming made a lot of money, didn't he? Of course, Xiaoming didn't understand these tricks, and it was completely an accident. Hong Chao deliberately created this most suitable private world. So in her private Jiajia building, there is not only Ruan Mengmeng, an early character, but also two characters who are not residents of the building, Qiu Shu and Situ Fenren. There are many talents in Jiajia building. This time, Xiaoming didn't want to take advantage of his sister, and almost blurted out to reject Hong Chao's proposal. However, Hong Chao knew that she couldn't use all the people, so it didn't matter if she gave a few to her brother. Even if Xiaoming had the ability to sign Kuang Tianyue, she would only be happy for her brother and wouldn't be reluctant. So she forced her brother to introduce various people in Jiajia building, and mentioned Ruan Mengmeng during the process. Her mother had been turned into a zombie by Hong Chao, but her Alzheimer's disease had been cured. She was naturally grateful to Hong Chao and was willing to go through fire and water for her boss. But Hong Chao had no use for someone like her who had little fighting power. He just used this incident to improve the favorability of several protagonists. Now she finally had a chance to repay her. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1148. This Ruan Mengmeng is not the same Ruan Mengmeng as the Ruan Mengmeng in the world of My Date with a Vampire 2 that Xiaoming experienced. Although they have the same appearance and personality, they do not have the entanglement with Xiaoming. In her eyes, Zhang Xiaoming is just a stranger. Because of Hong Chao's instructions, she will serve Xiaoming wholeheartedly. In order to distinguish, we call the Ruan Mengmeng that Xiaoming met that year No. This new one is Ruan Mengmeng No. Xiaoming asked Ruan Mengmeng to come, not for any color. At the beginning, he and Ruan Mengmeng were almost inseparable, and they never did those color things. It's not that Xiaoming can't do it. It's completely because at the level of their lives, they don't need that anymore. Just like Nuwa created humans, when did she rely on men? Ruan Mengmeng actually has huge potential. It is estimated that no one knows this except Xiaoming himself. During Xiaoming's journey in the world of Zombie Date 2, Ruan Mengmeng was turned into a second-generation zombie by Zhang Chen. Later, Ruan Mengmeng also upgraded to a zombie with her own strength. She is super strong. Xiaoming still has the ability Love Guardian she left behind. However, Xiaoming brought Ruan Mingmeng out not for her potential. He just wanted her to live a complete and fulfilling life. Just like Xiaoming tried to save the fate of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan in the legend of the Condor heroes. It was just for the unsatisfactory in his heart. What Xiaoming did was just self-consolation. No matter what he changed, the plot of the original work would not change. These people still had a tragic ending. Ruan Mingmeng also had no rejection of Zhang Xiaoming. The two sides got along very well. First, it was because Ruan Mingmeng's character was very gentle. Xiaoming was also a person who was easy to get along with. There was no contradiction at all. Second, this was something that her benefactor's sister Hong Chao told her to do, and she was willing to do it. Third, the ability Love Guardian left by Ruan Mingmeng also had an impact on Ruan Mingmeng. A sense of closeness was naturally generated. Fourth, the private world Jia building is actually very boring. There is only one building, no large shopping malls, no amusement parks, no food stalls, and most people would find it boring. In fact, every resident hopes to be selected to live here, even if they can only go out for a while to relax. When Xiaoming returned home, he let Ruan Mingmeng out, and the two of them installed a game cabinet for her together. This game cabinet was not bought, but Sister Hong Chao felt that the return gift was not enough. When she heard that Xiaoming needed it, she gave her a good game cabinet. Ruan Mingmeng could never have imagined that Xiaoming wanted her here just to play games. As a Hong Konger in the 20th century, she had probably heard of game studios, but she didn't know much about them. Since the new boss asked for this, she could only follow orders and play games. In fact, she really needs to get familiar with this job. On the morning of September 23, Xiaoming left the zombie cave and discussed things with Sister Hong Chao in the beehive, transforming the skeleton soldiers, and was busy for most of the day. When he returned home with Meng Meng, it was already past 1 a.m. on the 24th. The main game has been shut down. Xiaoming took Meng Meng to play a few secret realms and let her play freely. Xiaoming went to the Hunter's secret realm to continue to practice telekinesis. At 6 o'clock the next morning, Xiaoming left the game cabin and found Ruan Mengmeng making breakfast. Xiaoming couldn't help but sigh, "What a good child, how many girls can cook in this era?" Mengmeng's cooking skills are only a little better than Xiaoming's, and she can only cook some home-cooked dishes. But it feels good to have someone cook for you. The two of them ate and chatted, and Xiaoming remembered something and suddenly asked her, "Meng Meng, do you want to go to college?" "What?" Meng Meng's eyes opened wide, with an unbelievable look on her face. What is her own situation? Since Hong Chao locked Jia building as a private world, she has explained it to them. How could someone with this status be qualified to go to college? Of course, she found it hard to believe. Xiaoming knew Meng Meng very well. Her family was not well off, and her mother was not good to her. Meng Meng only completed 9 years of free education and often missed classes. Let alone college, she is very eager for high school and preparatory courses. Even the previous Ruan Mingmeng. She had no chance to go to college, because the world is over. In the world after the end of the world, all Hong Kong people are engaged in the work of rebuilding their homes, and there is no university to go to. This matter has always been a regret. However, Ruan Mingmeng is a generation of zombies, and her lifespan is almost unlimited. After waiting for hundreds of years, one day she will wait until Hong Kong has a university again, and she still has a chance. Xiaoming wants to make up for this Mingmeng who he brought home. Besides, it is not difficult to go to college. Some inferior universities can basically enter if you have money. "Master, are you serious?" The title of this young master is so retro. When she said this, Xiaoming felt like returning to the old society. Ruan Mengmeng originally wanted to call Zhang Xiaoming Mr. Zhang. But Xiaoming's face was too young, so she couldn't say it. She didn't dare to call him brother. Since Hong Kong society was once a colony, there are many remnants of feudal society. So she simply called Zhang Xiaoming young master. This habit is unlikely to change in the short term. Just like Xiaohong and Xiaolu, they are still used to calling Xiaoming young master. It's just that everyone is so familiar with each other, and the young master in their mouth sounds the same as Xiaoming or Xiaoliang. It's just a name. The young master suddenly drew a pie for herself, and Meng Meng was a little at a loss. She pinched herself secretly to confirm whether she was dreaming. She ran to check the calendar again and found that it was not April Fool's Day on April 1st. Still couldn't believe it. After Meng Meng confirmed again and again that Xiaoming was serious, she refused to accept Xiaoming's kindness. No merit, no reward, she is not a person who eats for free. Although she thought this young master was very kind and should not have any bad intentions. But such kindness still felt excessive. Xiaoming had no choice but to briefly tell the story of himself and Ruan Mingmeng. He said that he sent her to college to make up for the regrets of the past. She was actually enjoying this treatment on behalf of another self. She thought about it carefully and decided not to go to those second-rate universities. There was no point in going there, just messing around. If you want to go, you have to go to a serious university. Meng Meng decided to take remedial courses for high school first, and she would have to make up for junior high school courses as well. Then she would take the college entrance examination based on her own strength. She didn't ask for admission to Tsinghua University or Peking University, and she didn't even dare to hope for a first-rate university. As long as she could get into a second-rate university, it would be a dream come true. Of course, Meng Meng also had a request. She wanted to learn telekinesis, replace another self, and continue to replenish and improve the guardian of love. It was also considered self-reliant. Xiaoming readily agreed, opened the telekinesis seed for her, and taught her to practice. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1149. Without even an ID card, it is actually quite difficult for Ruan Mingmeng to go to school. Fortunately, Xiaoming had already told Sister Hongqiao about his intention to let Ruan Mingmeng live a normal life. Sister persuaded him at that time. Normal reincarnationists smuggle plot characters into the real world. It costs resources every day to maintain. Plot characters in the private world are relatively cheaper, but they cannot be placed in the real world casually. Some points and props must be spent. Therefore, reincarnationists are very cautious about such things, and they cannot spend money carelessly. Only very valuable plot characters are worthy of such treatment. Obviously, Ruan Mengmeng is not worth it. Hongqiao naturally hopes that his brother will give up this idea. Xiaoming then realized that ordinary reincarnationists have to face such things. The reincarnation space is addicted to charging. According to his own experience, no matter how many people and things are smuggled, the reincarnation space has never charged. It is estimated that it is free of charge because of the status of Gold VIP. For this reason, Xiaoming can only say that he doesn't care about the money. The way of showing off wealth makes Hongqiao headache. Knowing that Xiaoming would not give up the idea, Hongqiao could only let him go. He also helped Ruan Mengmeng to complete the legal procedures overnight. On the morning of September 24, someone was sent to Xiaoming's home. From now on, Ruan Mengmeng can live normally in Xinhan country as an ordinary citizen of Xinhan country. Mengmeng looked at the ID card left and right, and smiled from time to time. Xiaoming made a special call to Hongqiao's sister to express his gratitude. The sister said that she wished her brother to get rid of poverty as soon as possible. Xiaoming really has no experience in these procedural matters. Then he will go out to find a cram school. Of course, it is better to entrust such things to Hong Chao, or ask the Li family or the Tan family for help, which is better than going out blindly. However, just when Xiaoming wanted to outsource this job, an idea suddenly popped up in his mind. It seems that it is also interesting to go out with Meng Meng. You can experience the life of ordinary people. By the way, Meng Meng can also get familiar with this small city. The two of them bought a map and walked around the town for a whole morning. Apart from wandering around, they did almost nothing. But both of them were very happy. When they looked up, I don't know how, they actually wandered to the vicinity of Magic Dragon Aotian Studio. The buffet meat bone shop is still open. The aroma of meat bones permeates the air. Xiaoming is fine, but Meng Meng is drooling a little. Since we are here, let's go in. Just as he was about to step in, someone suddenly greeted him from behind. Brother Xiaoming, you are here too? Boss, he also invited you. Looking back, it was Lu Zhishan, the only employee in the studio. Seeing him, Xiaoming suddenly remembered the last time he met him. That was last month. He and his classmate Ye Yunan came to find him together, saying that they wanted to be reincarnations. At that time, Xiaoming refused. When he left, he was accidentally possessed by a ghost reincarnation. Xiaoming called that ghost reincarnation the possessed brother. He locked him in his own moon reading space. Occasionally, he would be shown the outside world, and he would be provided with the spiritual energy he needed to survive. In the eyes of the possessed brother, possessing other people was too troublesome. Ordinary people could not bear him for long, and they needed to change people frequently. Xiaoming, who had extremely strong spiritual power, was the best. He lived with Xiaoming, and it looked like he was in prison, but it was actually the same as staying in a hotel. He didn't charge money and provided food. He had no worries about food and drink. All this person needed was some spiritual power. It might be a burden to others, but Xiaoming's spiritual power was always overflowing, so just giving him a little was enough. Gradually, Xiaoming also forgot about this person. The possessed brother noticed this, but did not take the initiative to remind Xiaoming. He had already regarded Xiaoming as an excellent long-term meal ticket. What if Xiaoming expelled him after reminding him? Where to find the next meal ticket? Some people might ask, wouldn't he be bored living in the world of Tsukuyomi? Of course he would be bored after a long time. But he was a reincarnationist. He would go out on a reincarnation mission every week. With this interruption, you won't be bored at all. Staying in Tsukuyomi, you have food and drink, and it is very suitable for practicing spiritual power. Why not? If it was the previous Xiaoming, it would not be easy to ignore a ghost living in the spiritual world. However, just a few days later, a more conspicuous prisoner came to the Tsukuyomi space Fang's Hishuan. He was a bad guy caught from the world of outside the Aquila Rift. His spiritual power is relatively strong, and the Tsukuyomi space is still attacking his spiritual defense. Compared with him, the possessed brother is extremely inconspicuous. Later, Hong Xiaoming obtained the body of the Protoss, and a large number of light spirits lived in Kunlun. Xiaoming's hotel has more and more residents. With so many residents distracting his attention, Xiaoming has completely forgotten the possessed brother. Another reason is that the possessed brother has mastered the ability to hide himself. When he parasitizes others, he sometimes encounters masters, because he cannot occupy a dominant position, so he has to hide inside the spiritual world of others. How can you do without a strong hiding skill? That's why Xiaoming couldn't remember him. Today, when I met Lu Zhishan, I suddenly remembered that there was such a person. Xiaoming's mental power swept and saw that the possessed brother was hiding in the corner of the Tsukuyomi space to practice. Feeling that he was being watched by the host, the possessed brother showed an awkward smile. After hiding for more than a month, he was still discovered. Xiaoming could see through his thoughts directly, and he was also a little amused. Although this person only has a soul, he did not turn into a ghost after death, but gained a strange geese ability. So he cannot be sent to the underworld to reincarnate. And he must parasitize in the host's spiritual world to survive. Driving him away is equivalent to killing him. He is not a bad person, so it is not appropriate to kill him. Instead of letting him parasitize others, it is better to let him parasitize himself. At least his mental power is given by the Zerg spiritual sea. It is really too huge and can never be used up. The huge mental power makes the space of the Tsukuyomi world very huge. If not, the possessed brother would not have been able to hide for so long without being discovered by Xiaoming. From this, it can be seen that there is still a difference between the abilities cultivated by oneself and the abilities given by others. The degree of control over the abilities is completely different. Xiaoming's mental power comes from the Zerg spiritual sea, and the deeper root is the mind gem. Xiaoming could only use such a powerful force to a certain extent and could not control the overall situation. This is a loophole. Fortunately, the possessed man had no bad intentions and was just hiding in the moonlight. If this loophole was used by some masters of spiritual power, Xiaoming might suffer a great loss. Looking at the possessed man, Xiaoming felt that he should thank him. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1150. Reminded by the incident of the possessed brother, Xiaoming discovered the loopholes in his spiritual world. For this reason, this little brother won the permanent right of residence in Xiaoming's spiritual world, and was given the responsibility of helping Xiaoming patrol the spiritual world. Oi, congratulations, Taeyang, I just said that the adults will not hurt you. In the world of Tsukuyomi, another voice appeared, which startled Xiaoming. I thought in my heart, isn't this an open park where you can come and go at will? Who is this? Why are Nirvana still in pairs? Looking for the sound, it turned out to be the soul of Kitty, the phantom cat. How could she come to Xiaoming's spiritual world? Here's the thing. Xiaoming accidentally brought the phantom cat out of the reincarnation world X-Men. Then she fell in love with him. Later, Xiaoming also passed through some other reincarnation worlds, but the phantom cats didn't like them. Instead, he got along well with Suike in the private world and lived comfortably. She is almost living under Xiaoming's hands now. It's just that he doesn't have an identity like others. Katie is similar to a guest, in fact she is just a freeloader. When Xiaoming saw Katie, he thought she was a little sister. In terms of age, she was already a granddaughter. Pamper him very much. Therefore, Xiaoming had no intention of using her as a warrior, so he just let her play casually. As a result, people play in a variety of ways. Katie's ability is time travel. In the early days, it was just a simple wall traveling technique, a physical crossing. The reason why she follows Xiaoming out of the reincarnation space is because her ability has improved, she is more skilled in traveling through space, and she has penetrated into Xiaoming's light dome. Brought out by mistake. In the later original plot of X-Men, Days of Future Past, due to the tremendous pressure from the robot Sentinel, she developed the ability to allow other people's souls to travel back to the past. This is a very incredible skill. It is possible to change history and thereby change reality. With Xiaoming, there was almost no pressure to survive, and her development of her own abilities gradually went astray. Because she can travel through space at will, she can see all aspects of Xiaoming's abilities and power. Wherever a few Xiaoming can reach, she can reach. She may have the deepest understanding of Xiaoming's strength. As a result, she became more curious about Zhang Xiaoming. As the saying goes, curiosity killed the cat. This phantom cat is also a cat. It was because I was curious about Xiaoming that I entered Guangmingding and was brought out by Xiaoming. Now her curiosity about Xiaoming has led her to develop her abilities in another direction, giving her the power of soul travel. Can travel into other people's spiritual world. It's just that most people have low mental strength and their spiritual world is too small to enter. Those who barely manage to get in will encounter strong resistance from the original owner. Only those who are mentally strong can tolerate others in their spiritual world. For example, Hai and Karama, neither of whom are good at mental strength. But as a former A-level monster, Katie can stay in their spiritual world for a while. Of course, they both definitely don't like it. The most suitable one is Xiaoming, so the Phantom Cat often runs into Xiaoming's spiritual world. And he didn't even tell Xiaoming. Xiaoming didn't immediately notice that there was another person in Guangmingding. His spiritual world was broader and boundless, and his control was insufficient. It was even harder to spot this girl. The world of Tsukuyomi is only a small part of the spiritual world. The ability of the blood chakra I cannot yet spread throughout the entire spiritual world. Katie came here often, so she naturally met the possessed boy, and the two of them chatted quite well. Let's learn together how to avoid being discovered by long-term meal tickets. Of course, the two of them have no hostility towards Xiaoming, which is also an important reason why the two of them have always been able to live freely. Although they avoided Xiaoming, they often appeared near Fang's Heishuan, helping Xiaoming monitor the prisoner. He still has a good heart. When the possessed brother was discovered by Xiaoming, Katie hid in the distance to observe. When she saw that the long-term meal ticket agreed to take in her new friend, she jumped out. Xiaoming was so angry that he had a constipated expression on his face, but he was helpless. The possessed brother's surname is Sun, and his name is Sun Xiaotian. The pinyin of the word sun is sun, which means sun in English. When they met and communicated for the first time, he wrote the pinyin of his name to Katie, and the Phantom Cat always called him Taeyang. When she ran out, besides being happy for her friends, she also naturally wanted to assume the same identity so that she wouldn't have to hide all the time in the future. Sun Xiaotian accepted them all, and Xiaoming couldn't find any reason to reject Katie, so he accepted them all. Of course, it is impossible for Xiaoming to completely trust the two of them so simply. Instead, he summoned the Neon Beast uniform lawyers and signed a strict agreement with them. The two of them are responsible for helping Xiaoming guard the spiritual world. Sun Xiaotian is a full-time employee, and Katie is only part-time. She still has her true body in the private world. The reward is that in Xiaoming's spiritual world, there is a lot of free spiritual power that he cannot control, and the two of them can absorb it at will. Some people may ask, didn't people just absorb it casually in the past? What kind of reward is this? In fact, the two of them could absorb it before, but not casually. Once too much spiritual power is absorbed at once, there is a great risk of being discovered by Xiaoming, so they can only take a small sip from time to time. It should be said that it was stolen. It's fine now. If they absorb it openly and pull it to death, their mental strength will definitely usher in a period of rapid development. And it's not just that. Neither Sun Xiaotian nor Katie are very powerful. They are more like scouts. They can easily find the invasion of foreign enemies, but they may not be able to defeat them. So Xiaoming released two more helpers, One Tail and Nine Tail. One Tail is now quite big, but Nine Tail is still just a tiny thing. Tailed beasts are not creatures in the traditional sense. They are condensed from chakra. Simply put, they are energy storage bodies. The so-called sealing of tailed beasts means locking the tailed beasts in one's own spiritual world. One Tail was raised by Xiaoming for more than 10 years. He has long regarded Xiaoming as his parent and there is no danger of rebellion. Nine Tail will be the same in the future. Xiaoming simply didn't lock them up. Let them walk around in his spiritual world and help him look after the house. Katie is a girl. She can't help herself when she sees cute things. She hugged the little nine-tailed fox and didn't let go. She was so stroking that Xiaoming felt sympathy for Ninetail. Sun Xiaotian is a reincarnation, and he naturally knows about the famous existence of the tailed beast. He also understands how strong it takes to cultivate the one-tailed shikaku to such a huge size. This is something that only the top families can do. His admiration for his boss is like a torrent of water. At the same time, he also gave 32 thumbs up to his luck.